join the ranks.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for taking the time to participate in the upcoming Virtual Career Expo. To best position yourselves to be ready, we have invited Richard Moore, who is the Military Outreach Program Manager for General Dynamics Mission Systems, just to kind of talk a little bit further about how you could best prepare yourself to put your best foot forward as we enter this career Expo, and you may find yourself in General Dynamic Mission Systems booth speaking to Richard, and he wanted to take time out of his day to prepare all of us to ensure that we are our best selves as we come in front of General Dynamics and others that have participated in this upcoming Virtual Career Expo. So I would like to introduce Richard. Richard did 4 years in the United States Navy, 2.5 years in the Army. Again, he is the Military Outreach Program Manager for General Dynamics. So, Richard, if you wouldn't mind, sir, just talking a little bit further about GD, what you guys look for in applicants, how veterans and spouses could best position themselves when they come into your booth, and then, of course, any other guidance that you may have for the men and women that are attending the Virtual Career Expo would also be very, very helpful. So, Richard, again, thank you for your time, sir, and the floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Ryan. I greatly appreciate that. Again, everyone, my name is Richard Moore. As Ryan stated, I do manage the Military Outreach Program for General Dynamics Mission Systems. I greatly appreciate everyone's service and everything that you've done for our country. When you initially think of General Dynamics, there's two ways that I explain the structure of the entire organization. The first way is to think of General Dynamics as a family structure. General is the mom, Dynamics is the dad. They have 10 children, Mission Systems is one. Another way that I explain the organization is think of our structure as that similar to DOD. There's 4 branches of the military that fall under DOD that make up DOD. Here at General Dynamics, we have 10 independent business units that make up General Dynamics. So some of you may be familiar with who I represent, Mission Systems. Others may be familiar with GDIT, Information Technology, GD NASCO. The list goes on and on and on. So a lot of times when you're at events or even speaking with recruiters, my best advice when you're having those conversations would be to really take a look at the business unit, or at least understand the business units, because some business units may not have the same opportunities as others. For example, General Dynamics Mission Systems and GDIT almost run neck and neck in the types of opportunities that they have. Now, in reference to Mission Systems, our niche is basically in the areas of building and developing parts for communication systems and satellite systems. However, don't let that deter you from looking at opportunities on our website, because we do have quite a few opportunities currently available that in supporting roles as well. So again, don't let that deter you from stopping by our booth and having those conversations. Some things that I wanted to share with everyone prior to stopping by our booth would be to explain to you the best ways to maneuver throughout the business units, as well as when you stop by our booth, some of the things that we look for. I do recommend to review our website for career opportunities, just to give you an idea of what's out there. And also, I like for everyone to maximize the time that they spend chatting with our representatives. So basically, what I would recommend doing is starting on the General Dynamics Mission Systems career portal. The easiest way to get to the portal, and I'll share this later in the presentation, would be to visit gdmissionsystems.com/military, and it will bring you to our military page. Now, here you have an option. You can either search by job title, location, or simply select search. And what this will do is give you a listing of all of our positions, as well as the locations for those positions. Now, one of the things that I like about our website is some of the functions that you do have to choose from, which would be all job categories. And this just gives you a list of categories that we're currently hiring for. So if you're a subject matter expert in a specific field, such as engineering software, IT, manufacturing, you can actually choose those specific options or categories to see where the positions fall. You also have locations. So basically, this will help in the event that you're looking for a specific location. Now, one of the things to keep in mind for those of you who are searching for remote opportunities, normally the remote opportunities are going to be in one of two places. The first is going to be listed under telework, which gives you those opportunities. The next would be varies. Now, sometimes they may be a little bit repetitive. However, these are where you would be able to identify those specific positions. Now, just because an opportunity isn't listed or it has a physical location does not mean that that opportunity will not or cannot be classified as giving you the opportunity to work remotely. There is a time to ask those specific questions, which I recommend doing that when you're interviewing with a hiring manager. Normally, the recruiters are going to be the individuals that get you in front of a hiring manager. So that's something that you really want to keep in mind when you are discussing the opportunities. My personal recommendation, if you identify a position, I'll just use Colorado Springs, for example, but you're based in Florida or you reside in Florida. If someone asks, do you plan on relocating? If that's a position that you want to pursue to the end, yes. And the reason being is because if you say no, that's the end of the discussion. Once you get to the hiring manager, or if you get to the hiring manager, then that would be the time to ask the question of locality. Will the position have the flexibility to work remotely? They'll let you know if it can or if it can't, but that answer will always be no if you don't ask. And that's my recommendation, is once you get to the interview process and you make it to a hiring manager, not the recruiter, the hiring manager will be able to make that decision. And again, yes, no, they may say, well, you can work 100% of the time from Florida. However, you'll have to fly to Colorado once a month or twice a month to meet with the client or the customer that you'll be providing support to. So just keep that in mind.
Hey, Richard, if I may, I want to just kind of jump in here and ask you a quick question. What are your
Sure.
thoughts? Like, I know, for example, myself, when I was transitioning out of the United States Marine Corps, going in as a field radio operator, coming out with the clearance and, doing crypto changeover and everything like that, but knowing that maybe I kind of wanted to branch out of that when I got into the civilian world. And, so what's your recommendation or, kind of your guidance for those transitioning service members or those who have been out for some time that, kind of want to break away a little bit from their MOS that they did in the military and look at other positions. Would you say that that is something that you would recommend, or, you know, is it in their best interest to focus on the jobs that correlate with their MOS, you know, in the realm of General Dynamics?
My recommendation, Ryan, and that's a great question. And that question, responses can go either way depending on the opportunity. Some of our positions may not have a window of opportunity where you'll have a learning curve. So for many, I would say about 90% of our positions, you would have to come on board and be ready to hit the ground running. Now, again, some of those positions, they'll have a slight learning curve, but for the most part, for example, for those of us who served in the Army, we can't take an 88 Mike and say, okay, you want to switch careers and become a cyber IT or threat analyst. So you at least want to work towards what you're targeting, or what your MOS or what your skill sets are in, because you still have to be a close match. In this day and age, entering the workforce or being in the workforce, it is competitive. And I look at all things as a sport. I want to win. So what do I do to win? So when you're looking at it from that perspective, look at where you see yourself going, identify if the organization, and this is where some of your research may come in, but see if they have programs available that will allow you to move into a new career path. I do know that the Department of Labor has put together apprenticeship programs with different organizations. And what those organizations are doing is determining how they can take an individual that may not have a certain skill set and get them trained up into that skill set. So that way the individual has the opportunity to come on board with an organization, just like going back to the 88 Mike or that truck driver that's looking at moving into cybersecurity. DOL is going to have a hand in potentially getting those individuals trained up so that they can come on board. As far as the length goes of programs, that may vary, but that's something that you can look at if organizations already do not have those types of programs in place.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Oh, not a problem at all, Ryan. Also, in looking at how our website is set up, one of the myths that I'll debunk today is everything that you look at has to have a clearance. That is incorrect. If you look under the all clearance level section, we have everything, positions from no clearance to a TSSCI with the polygraph. Now, if we simply click on no clearance, right now we have 80 opportunities that do not require a clearance. And again, you would basically go into pursuing these just like how you would with a position that does not require a clearance. So as you go through, you can see what's available. Again, you have the location as well as job categories. So as far as the job search goes, it is going to be very easy to identify those opportunities. And again, once you identify the opportunities, I'll just utilize the Senior Cybersecurity Risk Assessment Specialist. For tomorrow's event, the one thing that you want to present is the position title and the ID number. This way, whoever you're chatting with, if it's myself, if it's one of my colleagues, they'll be able to pull this up on the screen. And if you have any specific questions, they'll be more than glad to address those at that time.
So, Richard, real quick with that, going on to the clearance piece. it probably goes without saying that General Dynamics is very equipped to sponsor clearances so that those individuals can keep those and remain those. How if someone comes into General Dynamics without a clearance, is there options to to become cleared and kind of move and grow their career within the organization?
Yes, there is. However, with the caveat of clearances, several things take place, and this is just from experience. Let's say if we have the senior surface ship combat systems operations engineer position. Now, it says that the clearance required, you have to be able to obtain a clearance within 24 months, which on average is how long it can take. However, please understand that we are a business. So if let's say if the position opens in January, March you're identified as a qualified candidate, we place you into the position, the clock starts ticking because you may not be able to work or fill that slot until the clearance is granted. So we're in a position where we're waiting for the government to say, yes, John Doe is cleared, or no, John Doe isn't. So that's where it gets a little bit tedious because we're anxious to get to work. We're anxious to get the clearance. We can't move forward with you until that clearance is granted. Now, once the clearance is granted, by all means, you'll move into that slot. And which at that point in time, once you get into a position and it requires a clearance, you have the clearance. If you start looking at opportunities that may be promotional opportunities for you, then at that point in time, once you apply to the position and that position is granted to you, then you'll get put into that position and you'll wait for that clearance. And then at that point in time, once the clearance is granted, you will have the opportunity to move into that position.
Roger that, sir. Thank you for the clarification.
Oh, not a problem at all, Ryan. And that also applies to General Dynamics as a whole. And I like to bring this up because when you look at General Dynamics, as I stated, there's 10 independent business units. Just because you start with mission systems doesn't mean you have to end your career with mission systems. You may come on board with mission systems 2 years, max yourself out. It's time to move on. Instead of leaving General Dynamics, you can simply go to another business unit. An opportunity may await you at GDIT. You stay at GDIT for 3 years. You do the same thing. You max yourself out, accomplish what you can accomplish. You find another opportunity, or another opportunity presents itself to you. You move on to that business unit, so on and so forth. And that's why I feel that we have individuals that have been with us for 40 plus years solely because they've had the opportunity to move around a bit in our space. Organizations get acquired, so there's opportunity there as well. So just keep that in mind when you're out on the website, when you go visit the GD.com website and you're looking at opportunities from that perspective. There's a lot of open opportunities out there for each and every one of you. Right now, if I'm not mistaken, just taking a look at the GD.com website. Let's see if I can pull this up here. In total, General Dynamics has approximately 3,155 positions. And this is across the organization within each independent business unit. So as you're out doing your searches, tomorrow's focus If I'm not mistaken, is going to be solely on mission systems, which is who I represent. And we also have another business unit participating that I'm aware of, which is Bath Ironworks. So I would do the same thing for each. Obtain the position ID number and the position title. And that's with any organization that you want to pursue opportunities with. I'll be completely honest and blunt. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just going to, kind of piggyback on that. So, you brought up a good point, Richard, that, kind of prepare yourself, come in, take a look at the website, see the different openings that General Dynamics Mission Systems has, or, one of the other houses in the General Dynamics neighborhood. But when it comes to, the veteran presenting themselves to you, what is your guidelines or guidance, if you will, on how they should prep their resume in reference to the position that they're interested in or looking to interview for?
Great, and that's another great question, Ryan. That's one of my favorite questions, and I say that because basically when you're looking at the position description, where a lot of us, even myself at times, had missed the mark, was I would look at a position and I would tell myself, I know this position inside and out. If I'm at an event, I'm talking to a recruiter or a hiring manager inside and out. But when it came down to tailoring, I say again, the key word, tailoring the resume, I couldn't do it. So what I had to figure out was, is there somewhat of a secret sauce, or what can I do to demonstrate that I performed the task? And the answer is simple. I have to utilize what's in the position description to my advantage from top to bottom. Example, the responsibilities for this position. If I perform these tasks anywhere throughout my career, and basically I'm interviewing myself, hey, Richard, when have you performed any of these tasks here? And I'll pick one and I say, well, I performed it in position number 1, 2, and 3 on my resume. I didn't perform it in number 4, so I'm not going to put it. I didn't do it on position number 5, so I won't put it. But what I'm doing is tailoring my resume, and then I'm going to take it a step further and explain what actions I took or are taken to perform those tasks, which to a degree that will require some wordsmithing, but at that point, I've narrowed it down to, if I've done this, how did I perform the task? And list out every action that was performed until I can't list anything else, as far as these are the 4 things that I've done, or the 4 actions that were taken relevant to this bullet that's listed on the position description. Then I'll move to the next one. Richard, when have you performed this task? Well, I performed it in positions number 3, 4, and 5 on my resume. I didn't do it in number 1. I didn't do it in number 2. So again, I don't put it. And then I just wordsmith those things so that they match, or when someone's reading it, they say, oh, this is how Richard performed this task. And then all I'm doing is providing supplemental details on how I perform those tasks.
So then with that, Richard, would you recommend, as someone's, kind of tailoring their resume, specifically for your jobs, but what's your feeling on, putting in military lingo or not putting it in, or dumbing it down, to kind of, for more of the civilian world, or, kind of where's your thoughts on that?
My personal opinion is you want to match the position description as much as possible. When we start using lingo, and pretty much everyone can attest to this. I don't know the lingo from the Air Force. I don't know the lingo of the Marine Corps. Even though I served in 2 branches of the military, I don't know all of the lingo. So if someone says LCAC, who knows what an LCAC is? Those of us who serve in the Navy and in the Marine Corps. And then I have to give a breakdown of, oh, this is what it is. And this is the work or the tasks that I perform on an LCAC. Whereas some of my colleagues that are coming to the event tomorrow or that will you'll have the opportunity to chat with, unfortunately didn't serve in the military. So if you start throwing lingo out at them, they're going to be lost. And they feel that because I'm the military outreach program manager, I know all of the lingo when I don't. So try to be as civilianized as possible. Now, I will say, once you speak with them, if there's a program or work that'll be performed and it's supporting the military, at that point in time, we may have a program supporting the Army, and you may be familiar with that. Then at that point in time, it's okay to utilize some of that lingo. But until you get to that point, my recommendation would be to civilianize it as much as possible, because again, you'll never know who you come across at any of these events.
Perfect. Appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
No problem.
Well, so Richard, it looks like we're kind of coming up on time here, but I definitely appreciate, all of your help and your leadership today. So if you could kind of give us, your final thoughts as we get ready for this webinar tomorrow, and what you would, again, just kind of recommend for, these veterans and spouses that come in and interact with you guys tomorrow, and just how that they could best position themselves to, put themselves in the best light.
Not a problem at all. Basically, my recommendation would be utilize the position description to your advantage. When I say utilize it to your advantage, we want to take a look at or think about the representative duties and responsibilities. For example, here we have a lot of bullets. So what you want to do is, and this is going to require some math, but look at each of the bullets. And like I stated earlier, think about how you plan on demonstrating that you performed a specific task. Let's say this could be 20 bullets. If you performed roughly, I'll just throw out 18, you're pretty much in a driver's seat. Now, if you look at this and say, well, it's interesting, I've only performed 4, that's going to stack the deck against you per se, because for a lot of this work, we want you, like I stated, come on and hit the ground running, because it's going to be difficult. That you may not have a training course that you'll go to, and there's a lot of one-on-one training. So when I look at it from those lines, how often will you reach out to me and say, hey, Richard, I have a question? And then the questions just go on and on and on how you should be performing a task. You're taking me away from my day-to-day duties, which means, how am I going to tell my manager that I can't perform the task you need me to perform because I'm helping the new person? So if we look at it from those perspectives, think about how you're going to best present yourself, even with the knowledge, skills, and abilities. These are helpful, and this is what I normally use to build my professional summary on my resume, because these are targeting skill sets. They're targeting like being proficient in Microsoft applications. And at that point in time, if I possess that skill set, or if you possess it, I really want you to go into detail. Here, familiarity with technical and Navy standards. So this position, 9 times out of 10, would be perfect for someone who served in the Navy or may have worked closely with the Department of the Navy. So these are things that I really want you to look at. A lot of times I get questions on, well, what about a degree? I'll have it finished within a year. Will General Dynamics Mission Systems, do they give some leeway on that? From what I've seen, they don't, because what happens if you don't, if life happens and you don't obtain your degree. Well, we brought you into a position. We basically hired you falsely because we assumed you were going to get the degree. Something comes up, you don't get it. Now we have to remove you from that position. But definitely take a look at the opportunities. I would say even moving forward, take advantage of connecting with me on social media, preferably LinkedIn. I'll be more than glad to get you invited to some resume workshops, so that way you'll have an idea on what I've discussed today in reference to tailoring, how to tailor. Some of you may have to tailor more than one resume depending on A, what you're targeting for yourself, and B, how many organizations you will plan on visiting tomorrow. Because if I may have an IT specialist position, Northrop Grumman may have an IT specialist position, and Lockheed Martin may have the same position. If that's the case, the skill sets may be slightly different. So you want to make sure that you're tailoring it for each specific position that you want to target. And just think of yourself when you're applying to positions, be the subject matter expert in that position. Be able to talk circles around me if you can. But just remember, you are the subject matter expert in that role. And then you just utilize everything that I told you today to your advantage. Grab some of those key words, grab some of what you feel the key phrases are in that position, and you should be fine.
Richard, again, sir, an absolute pleasure. Thank you for your time. Thank you for General Dynamics participation tomorrow. We thank you guys so much for for supporting those who've laid decided to go out and fight for our freedoms, man. So we really do appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Best of luck to you and to everybody participating tomorrow. And again, thank you guys so much. Enjoy the Virtual Career Expo, and we'll talk soon. Thanks, Richard.